Hi everybody, we are in the midst of our Ancient Egypt unit study and I want to share with you this project that my kids did. It's called Our Amazing Mummies by Scientific Education. So I'm just showing you some of the things that come in this kit. It was very complete, had everything that you needed in order to do this project other than a pair of scissors, and it even had extra of that plaster, so we were able to make more molds than we expected. So it has the paint and the plaster and the coffin and the sarcophagus, and of course information and directions. So the first thing you do is mix the plaster with water and you fill up these molds. You have to fill up both sides. You just want to give it a gentle tap so that the air bubbles can come out of the plaster. You also want to be mindful of following the directions pretty precisely when it comes to mixing this, and also know that it dries pretty fast. So don't mix it and walk away and think that you can just come back a half hour later. It will be set. So after about 12 hours, we were able to take apart the mold and you can see the mummy inside. And it has some extra pieces of plaster along the sides, and if they don't just come off with your hands, then you can just use a tool or a pair of scissors just to tap them off. And then you use the sandpaper that comes in the kit in order to file down the rough edges, and this is what it looks like when it's all done and ready to be painted. Okay, so you're supposed to make 2 of these mummies. So we got started painting the one and making another mold because we're going to end up with 2 molds. And then once we're done painting it, we added some oil and some essential oils, some clover and cinnamon. And then and that didn't come in the kit, by the way. And then we started on the mummy bag. So you just need to trim it down so that it fits the mummy. We actually made ours a little bit too big because we were a little bit hasty in reading the directions, but it's supposed to only go up to the shoulders. And then we needed to glue this shut. And so this project took several days. It only took a few minutes each time that we were working on it, but it took several days in between each of these steps. So now with the extra cloth, we're going to be making our linen wrappings. And so I just cut a few strips to show the kids, and then they cut the rest of them, but they were kind of a pale color and we wanted them to look a little bit more aged. And so I stuck them in a pot with some instant coffee. And of course that doesn't come in the kit, that was just something that we wanted to do. And then we wrapped the mummies. We wrapped the ones that didn't look so great. And then we also tucked in some little amulets. That didn't come in the kit, we just decided to do that after doing some reading on what the mummies were wrapped with. Then we tied it all up with some string, and then it can fit into the coffin, and the kids painted the coffin and the mask. And then we needed to assemble the sarcophagus, which was a little bit confusing. We needed a lot of tape, actually. I'm not sure that we put it together correctly. And then there is the bottom part of the sarcophagus, and that just was, there wasn't anything really to fasten it together, so we just used some tape kind of on the inside of the sarcophagus so that you couldn't see it from the outside. And here I've got both of the mummies kind of tucked into the sarcophagus, but really obviously there'd only be one. But one of them, for educational purposes, they've got one that's painted in the color that the skin ends up turning after the whole mummy process. And then there's one that's completely wrapped with the mask so that you can see what the finished mummy would look like. All in all, my kids really enjoyed this project. My 4-year-old really got into it and was working alongside the boys. And I think the hardest part of it was actually just painting the mask. So if you want to catch up on our complete Ancient Egypt playlist, including my unit study, how I put it together, you can click here for that playlist. And if you have questions or need advice, join the conversation over on the Facebook page Pepper and Pine. Thanks for watching.